Good afternoon. Welcome to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Today is Friday, June the 13th, 2014. Last night we witnessed something that I will say historic. Because first of all, never in the NBA Finals has a road team won 2 games back-to-back by 15 or more points in consecutive games, back-to-back, 15 or more points. And that's exactly what San Antonio pulled off yesterday. Now, I'm not shocked that they're up 3 games to 1 on Miami. I'm shocked at how they got up 3 games to 1 on Miami. They have basically ran Miami out of the building. Miami, see, everybody want to talk about, well, Miami, they look tired, this, that, and the other. Well, San Antonio has a lot to do with that. I don't want to hear about all the games Miami's played the last 4 years. Guess what? San Antonio's pretty much played similar amount of games. Okay, San Antonio was in the finals last year. Okay? And San Antonio was in the finals this year. So you could say they played pretty much the same amount of games. Here's the problem. Wade is finished. Wade is finished. Now, there's nothing you can do to fix what's going to happen in this series. You can't fix it this year. So I got a plan if I'm Pat Riley. Now, it's ambitious, it can work, and it will keep you guys on top for the next 3 to 4 years. It's a couple of things has to happen, though. One, LeBron James has to buy into the plan. If not, then this won't work. And I would not go this direction. Then I would just do a gut renovation, a gut reno, or gut renovation, which means just tear it down, restart over, and rebuild this team. But here's what I would do. I would go to Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James, and I would say, look, I got a plan to get us back and keep us on top. But what I need you guys to do is to take pay cuts. Okay? And as soon as, opt out and take pay cuts. Opt out of your current contracts and take pay cuts to make this happen. And as soon as they opt out, now this would be foul. This would be, you could call it bad business. But this may be the necessary way of doing this. Now, obviously, I would run this by LeBron before pulling this off. And that's this. As soon as they opt out, all 3 of them, the only person I would offer a new contract to would be LeBron James. And basically, I would tell Bosh to take a hike. He's the easiest guy to deal with. Because you know why? If I'm Miami, I have no loyalty to him. You were the third wheel, the third spoke. Because notice, after these games, when they have player interviews, you always see LeBron and Wade. You never see Bosh there with the other 2. So it's like basically he was phased out anyway. He's been that way since they've been there. So Chris Bosh would be easiest to pull this on. I wouldn't even feel bad about doing this to Chris Bosh. Nice guy, very intelligent guy from what I'm understanding. But I don't need him for what we're trying to do here. He's not a rebounder. He's basically a jump shooting big man. So therefore, he's kind of makes himself small for his size because he doesn't rebound and he's not really a shot blocker. Now, he's a pretty good perimeter shooter. That is what he is. But I don't need a 20-point per game scorer from him. What I need was some rebounding, some shot blocking. That's not what he gives me. So it would be easy for me I wouldn't lose sleep about doing this to Chris Bosh. Now, I would lose sleep about doing this to Dwayne Wade because Wade has been a consummate pro. Wade, really, if it wasn't for Wade, I don't have the 3 titles I have if I'm Miami. But I would let Wade know, look, we're going to take care of you. We'll take care of you. We just can't have you at the salary you're in. So here's the way I would play it. I would say to Wade, the only way I will re-sign you, Wade, so I will at least be somewhat fair to Wade. Wade, you're no longer worth even double-digit millions, like 10 million or more. You're not even worth that now. At this stage in your career, the only way I would bring you back is under two conditions. Number one, you take around $6 to $8 million per year. And this is going to be very insulting, but there's no other way to do it. You take either $6 or $8 million a year, or you and you become a backup. I can't have you and LeBron playing together. So I need you coming off the bench because you guys really don't fit. Your skill sets are too similar. Not only that, your knees they're not allowing you to play the number of games and to help out LeBron when LeBron needs a good blow. Okay? Your knees is just not holding up. Let's just be honest. So to prolong your career, I need you to take about $6 to $8 million, somewhere in that range, and I need you to come off the bench. If you're not willing to accept those conditions, and then really this is a take it or leave it offer, then it's best you move on. But as soon as you retire, we will have a place for you in the organization in some role or capacity because you are going to be a Miami Heat for lifer. But it's just that this is unfortunately a business decision I must make. Because when San Antonio is doing to you what they're doing to you, changes has to be made. San Antonio is a great team. This is how basketball was meant to be played, folks. And who would beat LeBron who could beat LeBron 4 out of 7? Oh, I'll tell you who can do it. A basketball team, a real basketball team. I already felt that's why I was hoping and picking San Antonio the whole year. I said the only team I want to see in the finals from the West is San Antonio. Why? Because I knew San Antonio was the only team capable of beating Miami. I didn't think OKC can do it. I didn't think the Clippers were ready to do it. Okay? Golden State, they're not ready. So, Houston, Now, the only team that I could see doing it was San Antonio because San Antonio really had them beat last year. See, everybody forgets that. Everybody goes and tells about, Miami with their 2 championships. But San Antonio had them beat last year. When you think about it, folks, if we're really honest with ourselves, San Antonio knows they can beat Miami. They got Miami's number. And this year, they're leaving it no doubt. So here's how I would reconfigure this roster, assuming Wade moves on and Chris Bosh moves on. Do you realize you will be freeing up about $38 million, somewhere in that neighborhood, as to what these guys should be getting? I would be freeing up a lot of money because you're over the salary cap and you're over the luxury tax. You're taking a huge hit to do what? To get blown out by the Spurs? Come on. You want to make some changes. Okay? So here's how I would build my team. So this way, when we get back to the finals, and we will get back with this team, we got a chance now against the Spurs. A team like the Spurs. Now, it's not as sexy as the Big 3. And this talk of bringing in Carmelo for the Big 4, forget about it, folks. Not happening. Because from a financial standpoint, it's not going to happen. Second of all, it would be one of the dumbest moves that Miami can make, and Carmelo, for that fact, can make. So there is not going to be no Big 3 or Big 4 with Carmelo there in Miami. Forget Carmelo Anthony. And this is what I'm telling LeBron James. This is my plan. Now, you're either on board or you can take a hike too. Because I'm not going to be bringing in multiple superstars to have what we had. Because you went up there and said, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, the 7 championships. Well, guess what, buddy? You only delivered 2. And let's be really honest about it. If we want to really, let's put all our cards on the table and push to the middle. Let's put all our chips to the middle. Let's be honest. The 2 championships you got, quite frankly, you really should not have. Let's think about it. The first year that you won the one against against OKC after Dallas beat you the year before. And before you got to OKC, everybody focuses on the OKC series in the finals. But everybody forgot that in the conference championship, an old Boston team that was on its last leg or its last run was up 3-2 heading back to the Boston Garden. And everybody started getting ready to write James' obituary. And the Heat's obituary, because had the Heat lost that game, I think major changes would have happened off the bat. And it would have been declared a disaster, the Big Three thing. This would have blown up in James' face. But James did everything he could to win that game. Boston just wasn't ready. And then obviously, they were just done. And then obviously they went on and won Game 7 back in Miami. I knew once Boston lost at home in Game 6, they weren't beating Miami in Game 7 in Miami. That just wasn't going to happen. So they survived that one. But I thought Boston should have won that series. Then the next year, when they beat the Spurs, if 2 things had happened, if one of 2 things had happened, the Spurs are the champions, the defending champions, and not the Heat. One, if Ginobili and some boys would have hit some, Kawhi Leonard would have hit some free throws down the stretch of that game, they would have won. They either went 1 for 2 or 0 for 2 on the free throw lines. You cannot do that. You cannot, because those are free points. You cannot miss free throws and beat a team like Miami. But they did. They missed free throws. But even still, they was up 5 with about 30 seconds left. If they grab 1 rebound, they win the game. But the reason they couldn't grab the rebound, because Greg Popovich inexplicably took Duncan out of the game. Took the one big man who could actually grab a rebound. It's not like the Spurs were a great rebounding team. We know Miami's not a good rebounding team. But the Spurs were not a great rebounding team either. But they took him out of the game inexplicably. And then then Chris Bosh grabbed the rebound, threw the ball to Ray Allen, and obviously the rest was history. He hit that 3 to basically tie the game, and then they went on, won it in overtime, and then of course you knew San Antonio was going to lose in Game 7 because you just from an emotional swing, that's just not going to happen. You're just not going to win that next game. Okay. So here's what I would do, assuming LeBron James sign off on it. So once they opt out, the first thing I need LeBron to do is to sign a 4-year extension or a 5-year extension to stay with the team, which will pretty much cover almost the remainder of his career, or at least the prime of his career, to stay with the team. And assuming he does that, these are the next moves that I make for next season. I looked at the free agency class that's coming up because the Heat don't have a draft choice. If my memory serves me correct, they will not have a draft choice this year because, unfortunately, every subsequent year, they don't have a draft choice for this whole LeBron thing. Okay. Going to Miami and also to Toronto, with Chris Bosh going from Toronto to Miami. So they don't have a draft choice this year. So here's how I would do this. Now, this wasn't really a great free agency class, but again, sometimes there's an old saying, less is more. So try this, not only starting 5, this team out for size. Starting at point guard, Kyle Lowry. That's the guy who got traded to Toronto, and really, let's just put it this way. He made Toronto a better team. He's an unrestricted free agent. But he's quick, he's an excellent passer, and he can shoot the rock. That's very, very important. So he's my starting point guard. My starting shooting guard, this was a guy who was a nuisance to the Miami Heat and LeBron James for that matter. But, hey, all is fair in love and war. And this would allow Miami to get better, yet weaken their competitor. And that is, I would sign, who's also an unrestricted free agent, Lance Stevenson. Now, this Lowry and Stevenson, you will have to pay a little money for. You don't got to pay them Bosh and Wade money, but you're going to have to pay up a little bit for them. Okay? But Lance Stevenson, so all would be forgiven. Let him now be a nuisance to the Indiana ball club. Let him guard Paul George. He'll put Paul George in his back pocket. That kid can ball. And he can shoot the three, and more importantly, he can also handle the rock. Equally important. And he's fearless. Lance Stevenson is my shooting guard. Obviously, my small forward, LeBron James. Goes without saying. LeBron. King James. Now, my power forward is not as sexy of a move, but he's a nuisance, but more importantly, he can grab some rebounds. Chris Humphries. This past season, 8.4 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. Folks, you need guys who can rebound. So this way, LeBron James don't have to be guarding the Tim Duncans or the Boris Diaws of the world. You need guys who can actually rebound, defend and rebound. Okay? And he's a nuisance. That's perfect. And my center would be Marcin Gortat. He averaged 13 points a game and 10 rebounds, or 9.5 rebounds per game. See? Boom. He can hit also he's a decent mid-range jump shot. Now, he obviously doesn't have the range that Chris Bosh has. Don't look for him to shoot threes, but I don't need my big man shooting threes. But I do need my big man that if he's open, he can knock down a little jumper. And guess what? That's my starting 5. Now, look what my bench would be. Rashard Lewis, I would bring him back. He did well enough for me as my small forward. So I'd bring back Rashard Lewis, or shooting guard. So I'll bring back Rashard Lewis. I would also try to bring back Ray Allen. Ray Allen can continue to shoot the ball. Boom. It's just that he can't play but so many minutes, and used right, he would still be effective. I would also bring back Udonis Haslem, because why? He has energy and he's nasty. He's got a mean streak. But here's where it gets interesting. My backup point guard would be Jared Bayless, the point guard that played in Memphis. Okay? He can knock down the jumper. He's a pass-first point guard. Okay? And what can happen is if you want to go really small, you can put LeBron, Stevenson, Bayless, and Lowry. Now you got a whole bunch of guys who can pass the rock. So if a team goes small, you can go small. If you want to go big, you can go big. It gives you a whole bunch of flexibility. And then my backup center, I call him the poor man's Chris Bosh, because he can knock down the three-point shot. He can grab, but more importantly, he can do something that Chris Bosh really is not known for doing. Grab some rebounds. And he was an Isaiah Thomas draft pick for the Knicks. When Isaiah Thomas was with the Knicks, he drafted this young man. And this kid can play. Shannon Fry. 6'11". Okay? So he can give me what Bosh can give me if I need a three-point shot from a big man. Okay, and then I can mix and match if I want to go big. I can have Fry and Marcin Gortat on the floor at the same time. Fry just move over to the power forward spot. So now that gives me my big. And guess what? I can do all of this and not go over the cap so much. I would have to look at the cap numbers and all that stuff. But a lot of these guys are not paid big money, and they're not going to get big money. Lance Stevenson and Kyle Lowry will get some money. They would get what they call the mid-range the mid-range money. Okay? But I would try to steal Lance Stevenson, because that's the key. Steal him from Indiana. He's an unrestricted free agent. I would sit down and talk to him and let him know, look, You can go stay there in Indiana who doesn't appreciate your service. They don't appreciate what you bring to the table because they're crying and complaining because, oh, you blew in LeBron James's ear. Oh, they were distracted. That team is a bunch of wussies. Come here to Miami. South Beach, baby. Come here to South Beach. Okay? And guess what? You can show them how valuable you really are. Do this. If Pat Riley do this, they'll not only be back in the finals next year, they actually got a shot to actually win it. Okay? And they don't got to luck up to do it. See, folks, to me, and this is why I say to Carmelo Anthony, be careful looking to partner up with this superstar or that superstar. It's more importantly to get good players around you. Guys who can play the game and it is fearless. You got a couple of guys on your team. Okay? I love Tim Hardaway Jr. Woo, that boy can shoot the rock. A little inconsistent, but he's a rookie. You got to expect that. And then there is a guy on the team who reminds me a lot. He's got a lot of Kobe attitude with him. But he has got to work on his offensive game. But he's your defensive stopper. Shumpert. That kid can play. He just got to work on his offensive game. Get in the gym. Work on some jumpers. Get in them jumpers. Boom, boom. Do this, and guess what? With some of these other types of players, now all of a sudden the Knicks got themselves a very, very good team. But I'm saying if Miami was smart, this is the route Miami should take. And guess what? You don't got to pay you don't got to blow up your salary cap to do it. There's no need to. San Antonio have their salary, the salaries they're paying out this year is like $69 million. So they're paying about $20 million less than what the Heat is paying on their salary. About almost $20 million, and they're getting better production. The pieces fit better. Because you look at this big three, this Miami team, that Wade and LeBron never really fit well together. Let's be honest. They just found a way to make it work because usually, most of the time, they're the two best players on the court. But the reality is they never really fit well together. It's like they kind of almost got in each other's way in a sense. If we really want to be honest about it. And by getting rid of Wade, this will be truly, truly LeBron's team. LeBron don't have to acquiesce to Wade. He doesn't have to now worry about stepping on Wade's foot. Or, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to now worry about Wade's ego. Because superstars have egos. That's why they're superstars. They got huge egos. So this will free up LeBron to really play his game. And not only that, you got guys who can actually help you out. So this way you don't have to feel like you have to carry the team every night. These guys can play. Why don't you make this work? I would like to thank you for watching another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Good night.